In January 2026, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney signed a landmark trade pact in Beijing, shaking the foundations of North American trade. The agreement, though not a full free trade treaty, marks a bold shift. Canada is seeking new partners, moving beyond its long-standing reliance on the U.S. Washington's response was immediate and furious, with President Trump threatening a crippling 100% tariff on all Canadian goods. For decades, Canada has thrived in the U.S. economic shadow, but this deal signals a push for independence. Carney calls it a strategic move to open new markets, but the risks are enormous, especially with the U.S. threatening economic retaliation. The drama is more than a bilateral spat. It's a symptom of a global realignment as China's economic power grows. Canada's limited deal with China has become a flashpoint in the escalating U.S.-China rivalry. Now, Canada finds itself at the center of a geopolitical tug-of-war, its economic future hanging in the balance. At the heart of this trade standoff are three powerful figures: President Trump, Prime Minister Carney, and Ontario Premier Doug Ford. Trump, ever the nationalist, sees Canada's China deal as a betrayal and a threat to his America First agenda. Carney, a seasoned economist, argues Canada must reduce its dependence on the volatile U.S. market, even if it means facing American wrath. Ford, representing Ontario's auto industry, fears the deal will open the floodgates to cheap Chinese EVs and provoke U.S. retaliation, devastating local jobs. Trump's combative style clashes with Carney's calculated pragmatism, while Ford's populist warnings resonate with anxious workers. Their competing visions have set the stage for a confrontation with profound consequences for North America. The stakes: economic sovereignty, jobs, and the future of the continent's trade alliances. As these leaders clash, millions of livelihoods hang in the balance. President Trump's response to Canada's China deal was a study in whiplash. At first, he seemed supportive, telling reporters, "If you can get a deal with China, you should do that." But when details emerged, especially concessions on electric vehicles, Trump's tone flipped overnight. Suddenly he saw the pact as a direct threat to U.S. manufacturing and his North American auto ambitions. Trump unleashed a social media tirade, threatening a 100% tariff on all Canadian goods if the deal went ahead. The threat was a nuclear option, risking economic chaos and recession in Canada. Trump's reversal highlights his transactional, unpredictable approach to foreign policy. Canada now faces an impossible choice: pursue new markets or risk losing access to its largest trading partner. Strip away the drama and the Canada-China deal is surprisingly narrow. It's not a sweeping free trade agreement, but a targeted tariff reduction focused on electric vehicles and agriculture. Canada will allow up to 49,000 Chinese EVs annually at a much lower tariff, slashing protection for its domestic market. In return, China will cut tariffs on Canadian canola and other agricultural products, a major win for Canadian farmers. The deal is a classic trade-off. Canada bets on new agricultural markets. China gains a foothold in North American autos. The pact's scope is limited, but its symbolism is huge. Canada is willing to risk U.S. anger for a shot at diversification. It's a calculated gamble with high stakes for both countries. Not everyone in Canada is celebrating the China deal. Ontario Premier Doug Ford warns it could devastate the province's auto industry, opening the door to cheap Chinese EVs and risking U.S. retaliation. The Canadian and U.S. auto sectors are deeply intertwined. A 100% tariff could sever vital supply chains and cost thousands of jobs. Business leaders like Kevin O'Leary argue it's reckless to jeopardize a relationship where 70% of Canadian exports go south. Critics say the deal trades long-term stability for short-term gains, aligning with an unreliable partner at the expense of the U.S. The debate exposes a deep divide. Should Canada risk its biggest customer for a shot at independence? For many, the answer is clear. Canada's prosperity is still tied to the U.S. The China Pact has sparked a national reckoning over risk, reward, and sovereignty. President Trump didn't just threaten Canada. He struck a new trade deal with India, signaling America can find other partners. The US-India pact slashes tariffs and aims to boost American exports, though some analysts question its substance. This flurry of deal-making, Canada with China, the US with India, shows a world where old alliances are shifting fast. Middle powers like Canada and India are hedging bets, forging new ties as US-China rivalry intensifies. Canada's small deal triggered a crisis that could reshape North American trade for decades. Will Trump follow through on his tariff threat, or is it a negotiating ploy? One thing is certain, the future of the continent's economic order is more uncertain than ever.